This episode is brought to you by the letter C.
Welcome to Meet Your Metrics. I am Annie P. Ruggles, aka Anniepreneur. I am your host today, and my guest is the ridiculously brilliant and effective Debra Eckerling, who I call Deb or Deblet, just to get that out of the way. But you'll know her as Debra Eckerling. Debra Eckerling is the book proposal expert. That's right, I said the book proposal expert, an award-winning author and speaker. She works with thought leaders to turn their ideas into impactful nonfiction books. Spoiler, she worked on my novella. She helps clients clarify their vision, develop persuasive proposals, and navigate the publishing world. Debra is the creator of the Deb Method for Goal Setting Simplified and the author of Your Goal Guide, which was an IPPY silver medal in the self-care category, and of 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. She hosts Goal Chat, Taste Buds with Deb, the LA Press SoCal Journalism Awards first place, and the Book Proposal Podcast. She has spoken for TEDx, Innovation Women, Writer's Digest, Well Coaches, the LA County Bar Association, and more. Learn more about Deb at thebookproposalexpert.com. How easy is that domain? Connect with Deb on LinkedIn and follow the Deb Method all across social media. Deb, welcome to both you and the letter C to Meet Your Metrics. Why C? What's going on? What are you here to talk to us about today, Deb? Let's bust some myths.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's great when we get to hang out, but usually it's because you're interviewing me or I'm interviewing you, because that is how we roll.
Or I'm in a book panic.
Or you are in a book panic.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
But usually when we talk, we record it so other people can watch.
Lucky
You're
them.
welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And the letter C is because the letter C stands for the three sections of your book proposal. So we've got concept, context, and content. Most people do not realize that most nonfiction books are sold via book proposal, which means you do not need to write the whole book. What you need is a clear idea for proper execution of it, or rather the plan for how you are going to write this book. And through your book proposal, you are making the case of why your book will sell and why you need to be the one to write it. So the three C's are the three sections of your nonfiction book proposal.
There's a C-section joke in there, and we're not going to make it. We're just not going to make it. But instead, they do talk a whole lot about books being like giving birth. And I guess I did kind of segue there, didn't I?
You did. And I have two children.
Yes, you do.
One is yellow and one is red.
So lovely.
There you go.
So my first question for you on all of this is, this whole idea of needing an entire book written before the proposal or during the proposal, if we don't need to have the entire book written, is it right to do proposal first before the book? Should I start writing the book and then go to the proposal? What's the ideal timeline, if there is one?
Okay, there is no ideal timeline. There's only what works for you.
Did you hear that out there? Say it again, Deb.
There's no ideal timeline. There's only what works for you. And what I tell a lot of my pre-clients, so these are people who, we go to these meetups and I say, oh, schedule 20 minutes. I'm happy to talk to you. So what I tell my people who are not quite ready to work with me, but they know they want to write a book, I say, keep a notebook. And it can be an actual physical notebook. It can be a cloud document or a Word document or whatever. But just keep it for notes on what your book is. And then either every week, spend a little time, unload your brain, or after you meet with a client, when you say something brilliant, write it down. But you want to keep that running list of all the things that you want to teach. And then you'll get to a point where you're like, I've emptied out my brain so much, I'm ready to start thinking books. So that is one way to start, but only one way to start.
There's a ton of misconceptions that are not metrics, but they are numbers. And I feel like they keep people from kind of crossing the starting line of what we would call the traditional publishing process. And I include book proposals as part of that process. But some of the misconceptions that I've heard, and I'm sure you've heard too, are that it takes multiple years minimum to publish a book, that it takes $15,000 minimum, that it takes 90,000 words minimum, right? All these minimums get thrown around. And I understand that some of this is just industry standard or quality assurance, but I do see them kind of waved as these excuse badges of honor of like, well, I don't have 3 years to dedicate to a publishing process right now, or I don't have my 125,000 words. What do you say to
That's
each and
long.
any of these myths?
Okay, 125,000 words, that is long. That is 2 books. So, hold your horses. What I would say is, uh, I can't decide which to attack first. Okay, I will start with this. No matter how you publish, you need a book proposal because that is your plan. That is showing what the book is, what makes it unique, why you need to write it, why people will buy it. And through that, through the concept, the context, and the content, and yes, I will explain what each of these 3 C's are momentarily, coming soon. But the point of the matter is you need a plan, no matter what you're going to do with publishing it. So even if you self or hybrid, but I believe that if you're writing a book, you are pouring your heart and your soul into it. It needs to be in front of as many people as possible, not just the people you know or who know you. And for that to happen, you need to go traditional.
And you know that I am a cautionary tale of that because I wrote, with your extreme guidance, a novella, a strategy novella and workbook called The Coach Who Would Not Sell that I am so proud of and I love so much. And it made dozens of dollars and impacted dozens of people, which was not necessarily the intention, but nor did I have a book proposal, to your point, right? So
But
could you
before
yeah, go ahead.
but before you go down that road, when you decided you wanted to write this novella and you had one concept and we workshopped it
Mhm.
and it became a much better book. Yes, let's
Mhm.
pat us both on the back. But you had a very specific purpose. You wanted the experience of writing a book. You wanted
Yeah.
to get this out in the world.
Yeah.
But you also did not spend tens of thousands of dollars. A couple months ago, somebody said to me, does it cost $100,000 to get a book deal? Yes, let's
Mhm.
pat us both on the back. But you had a very specific purpose. You wanted the experience of writing a book. You wanted
Yeah.
to get this out in the world.
Yeah.
But you also did not spend tens of thousands of dollars. A couple months ago, somebody said to me, does it cost $100,000 to get a book deal? And I'm like, who have you been talking to? And I Googled the person and I will not mention, but now I see their ads all the time, which is another reason
Thanks,
why this person
algorithm.
is, yeah, exactly. But the point is this, you had a purpose, you had a goal, you wrote this book, it is there.
Mhm.
Great. And you are probably never going to go self-published again, not because it was a bad experience, but because you had that experience and you're ready to go bigger.
The work to return was not big enough for me in terms of impact for the future. And my novella is what, like 9,000 words. It's not very big at all. And so if I'm going to do something that's 50, 60, 70,000 words with way more of my intellectual property in it, with so many of my frameworks and methodologies in it, I really do want partnership. And so talk to me about what that partnership actually covers in these different forms of publishing, because I know that's a really big differentiator between this hybrid idea and self and traditional. Talk to me about the support.
Okay, I do not think I'm going to answer that exact question, but I will give you an answer.
Great.
Sound good. Okay, so if you go self-publishing is basically you are project managing
Mhm.
your own book. So you are going out there and you are figuring out the distribution, the production. You're getting an editor, a cover designer, interior designer. You are managing and finding all these people to help you put your book together.
Mhm.
And each of them, it's going to cost you money depending on, and yes, you can go on Fiverr, but first of all, you get what you pay for. And not everything is $5.
Your
Let's just
intellectual
put it that
property
way.
deserves more than $5.
Right. You can go hybrid, which is basically a one-stop shop. And some hybrid publishers have standards where they will not take everyone. So you still need to submit your book or your idea or whatever it is. But you are either in partnership, or what is most common is you pay them money to publish your book. And then it's an upsell. Oh, do you want marketing? Oh, do you want this? Oh, do you want that? There are so many ways that they can keep going ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching on you. Or you can pay me. I can help you write a winning book proposal, one that gets the attention of agents and publishers. And then eventually you will get paid. And I do say eventually. Sometimes there are advances, sometimes there are not. My first 2 books, there was not an advance, but it was a higher royalty. The one that I've got coming out this fall, there was a small advance, but it was also the end of the year. So I cannot speak to, I hear these people say, oh yeah, I got a 5-figure, I got a 6-figure advance. And I'm like, was it this decade or, good on you? Great. But this is the thing
It
about
was
advances.
1903 in the heyday of the cocaine era on Wall Street. I don't know.
So anyway, this is the way to look at advances. So the advances, they're giving you money up front, and you've got to earn the money back before you get paid more. So if you're writing a book that you want to be a bestseller to get out there, it does not matter what the advance is, because you will outsell your advance. If you undersell your advance, you don't give the money back. I think it's better to get some better. Like, I know the difference. As long as you plan to sell a lot of books, it does not matter how much money you get up front. And I've had people say, oh, I'm not going to, sell my book for less than this amount for an advance. And I'm like, okay, good luck.
Right.
The book that I've got coming out this fall, it's a little bit different. So I feel like I should back up. So I self-published my first 2 books because I was working with writers, and I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I did not want to tell people, this is how you write your book. No, I don't have one. That just sounded wrong, right? So fast forward to 2018, I created the DEB method for goal setting simplified, and I discovered that all other goal setting experts, yes, I'm using the air quotes, they tell you how to achieve your goals. They do not help you set the foundation for your goals. So that's what the DEB method is all about. I met an agent. He asked what I had written, what I was working on, and I told him about this book. And he said, what is your goal? I said, to be the person people think of when they hear the word goal. He said, great, send me your book proposal. If you want to get yourself and your book out there, you need to go mainstream. So I wrote a book proposal, and he had actually sent it out twice. He sent it out over the summer and again in the fall. And the end of 2018, I had interest from my publisher who put the book out. So this was the end of 2018. I got the deal the spring 2019. The book came out January 2020. So 6 weeks before the world had changed by circumstance, out came my book to help people embrace change by choice or by circumstance. But we developed back and forth, and that maybe that's part of where my love of proposals came from. But I saw in action how you take an idea and you make it even better and you make it saleable. And that is that book. My second book, 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting, came about because spring 2023, I said to my publisher, isn't it time we do another book together? Okay. And we were very, I think I call it guru-itis. And you and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
The people who say, do exactly what I do and you will be successful. And that's crap, because we don't have their background, their financial support, their resources, anything. But what if we brought together, what if I took advice from all the different people in my world? So I started Gold Chat, which is my live show and podcast, where I'm interviewing people every week on different topics. So I reached out to people in my community, and I gathered, well, it's 52 secrets, but they're actually 60 because there's a bonus in each chapter. And then Guy Kawasaki wrote the afterwards. So, but this started out as, we need to write another book together. We talked about it, refined the idea, wrote the proposal. And then she said to me, Deb, I can't believe you wrote this in 2 weeks. It's better than what people slave over for months and years. Is this part of your business? And I said, is more the Deb's secret menu. Should it stop being a secret?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that was 2 years ago. So in the last 2 years, I have flipped my business from being goal expert in Project Catalyst to the book proposal expert who writes books on goals and now lifestyle. And the point being, it's not just about my mission to help people write book proposals. It is my mission to help debunk all the publishing myths, because is it hard? Yes. But you're writing the book anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why not get it?
Get it out there. Get it out there. So I want you to explain these 3 C's to me. And I have been told that I am the average height of a 9-year-old. And so I want to pretend for a moment that that happens to be true. Will you please explain the 3 C's to a 9-year-old?
I am so glad you asked. So for a book proposal, this is, let's say you're selling cookies for school, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to make them as attractive as possible so everybody wants to buy that. So that's what a book proposal does. Because here's the thing, agents and publishers, they want books they can sell. So your job is to make them want to buy it. And you do it through writing a book proposal. Okay? Okay, got it. So there are 3 sections of a book proposal. Okay, so you start with the title page because you got to have a title and something called splash. And splash is like, have you heard the picture's worth 1,000 words?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the picture that draws a reader in. They like, I like this picture. I want to read more. I get what this book is from the title and this picture. Okay, now the first C is the concept. And that there are 3 sections within this part, but it's basically, what is this book? What makes it unique? Why I need to write it? Why I'm the best and only person who can write it? And why people will read it. So that's the C. And that is done in the About the Book section, which is the overview, what's in the book, and the book specs. Okay? Does that all make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you've got this concept, you know what this book is, and you're really excited because you love the topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because why are you going to write a book if you don't love what you're writing about?
Oh, please don't. Oh, please don't. I've had more than one best-selling author tell me in confidence that they don't like the book they just put out, and it makes me want to stab them. Please don't put out a book that you don't, not even like, but like passionately adore. Anyway, we'll get back to that. What's the second C, Deb?
Oh, but that's the other part of this. It's like, if you're lucky, and of course you're going into this process intending to be lucky, right? You're going to be talking about your book forever. You want it to be something that you love.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's when you're figuring out your concept. You want to make sure you love this. And that's got to kind of leak out onto the page. So that's concept. Next is context. And context is actually the promotion section. But I love alliteration, you know, where you use the same letter 3 times in a row. So I just kind of bent it to my will. So context is you. You know, it starts with your author bio. And you need to put a picture in, because they're not just investing in your book, they're investing in you as an author. So you need to make yourself as real as you can. So you start with your bio and photo, and then your author platform. Now, this is a big deal. This is wherever you are, online and offline. So like online is your social media and your website, and if you go out a newsletter, and if you do some talking and media and whatever, right? And then offline is where you are in the world. So if you're members of communities, if you do speaking on the regular and on and offline, or you created a community, it's browse clippings, it's going to events. It's just, I have a client who she's still working on her online, but she's a board member of like 5 different communities or 5 different organizations, and they're all her ideal client. She is a board member of 5 different organizations, and everybody in these organizations is the ideal reader of her book. So she might not have this big online following. She's building it, but she's got a offline following, and she does have an agent. An agent saw, okay, there is that potential. She's got a good topic and people there who are going to read it. So next we've got marketing. And this is, what is your marketing plan? What are you going to do to get your book out there? Now, this is a big, big myth. People are like, well, I'm going to have to promote it anyway, so I might as well self-publish. Well, you have to promote it, whether yourself or traditional or whatever. You can hire someone to help you. You can get a little bit of support, get a VA, whatever. But the heart of what's going to sell your book is the partnership between you and the publisher. So the marketing section is saying, this is what I'm going to do in concert with whatever you're going to do. Everybody wants your book to sell.
Yeah.
So you get a publisher who's like, oh, that's a great idea. I love their thoughts. I love their ideas. We need to work with this person. So this is, and you can also be as creative as possible because you're not necessarily going to do all of the things, but you want to give them a menu of the different things, right? Okay, so that's
marketing. It also shows skin in the game. It also shows like you don't just expect them to market your book for you while you sip Mai Tais on a beach and collect royalties. Like, you know that you are involved in this process.
Guess what? Unless you're famous, you have to do all these things to sell a book. And you don't have to be big famous. You could just be known.
Yeah, known. Right? Known is great. Known is lovely.
Exactly. So for example, for your goal guide, I think my big selling points on my platforms were I had Write On Online, and the Facebook page had 10,000 people. But the Facebook group at the time had, I think, like 2,800. But it was on the Write Life's best Facebook groups for writers for, I think, since 2016.
There you go.
That's the selling point. Because, and I remember the day I was in that article, I could not believe it. I'm like, who's been talking about me? I was involved with an event, and I thought people were finding it from that. And then someone sent me the link that I was on this list, which was just beyond awesome. But this is what I'm saying. You don't have to have a big platform. You don't have to be everywhere. But you do need to be out there, and you need to own your topic. The other thing at the end of platform before marketing is really good to put sizzle reel.
Okay.
And that's like a 3 to 5 minute video of you doing clips. And I remember when I sent my agent the first version of the proposal that became your goal guide, he's like, okay, your detailed outline needs to be more detailed and you need a sizzle reel. So I took different interviews. I did a couple Facebook Lives and I merged them together. This was really funny.
What's the second C?
Okay,
we're on the second C.
We're on the second C, and there are 2 more sections.
Okay.
One is audience, and that is you doing research about who the audience is for your book and showing proof that there are people out there that will buy it.
Okay.
So you want to find the marketing trends, you want to link to articles, anywhere in your book proposal that you could put a link to, whether it's you speaking or a fact or a website, you want to put it in there. Whoever's reading it might not click anything. They might not click everything, but you want that information there for if they want to learn more.
May as well provide it.
Right, exactly. And then the last part of this one, and then the third C is really quickly, but the last one here is the comp titles.
Oh, yeah.
These are books that are similar enough to yours, that have sold well, but different enough that whoever buys them also needs to buy your book. So you want to find 5 titles that are traditionally published in the last 5 years with good rankings and a lot of reviews. And what you do is you say, this book talks about this. My book also talks about this, but it also does this. So you are filling a hole. And side note, if you're having trouble figuring out, okay, what is the differentiator for your book, do the comp titles first. See what is out there and what your hole is filling. What hole you are filling.
I knew what you meant. What's the peanut butter to that jelly, right? Like, if they're out there and they've got all of these books, but all of their books are aspirational and not methodological, then give them a method. Or, if every single thing out there is written by an entitled rich white man and you're not an entitled rich man, then you already have a differentiator. So lean into that. There's a lot of different ways to skin it.
Well, exactly. And like I said, with my goal book, with your goal guide, I said, there are books out there, but they tell you how to get it done. They don't tell you how to start. they don't help you lay that foundation. Or for 52 Secrets, it was, I think I went, I went against the gurus, right? I'm like, this doesn't work, but people love buying these kinds of books.
Yeah.
Or people like the okay, you want to know, and then I'll get to the third C. One of my biggest pet peeves is there are so many snake oil salesmen out there in publishing. There are people that just want to take your money and say, give me money, you'll make a lot of money. Well, and I actually heard a hybrid publisher say, oh, you're going to make way more money if you publish with us, but you're not going to make up the money that you invested into it. I mean, maybe, but I doubt it, right? Right. Yeah, exactly. And then there's the third, which is people who sell you a chapter in a book. And they're like, oh, be an Amazon bestseller. Well, what they're doing is they're jacking the algorithm. They're getting people to pay into these books. And then everybody buy it at this time and tell your communities to buy it. And then you have a bestseller. It's not real.
Or sustainable. It's not a sustainable growth plan for your platform.
But I meet people all the time. I'm a best-selling author, and it drives me nuts. Because there is something really special about putting all this time and effort and creating something that is all yours, that you've created from your love and your experience and your expertise that you're putting out in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not the same thing.
No, it's not at all.
Okay, third C.
Third C.
C is content.
Content.
Yeah. Table of contents. Detailed outline, where you do a paragraph or two about what you're going to talk about in each chapter. And then sample chapters, which can be like 2 or 3. Usually it's the introduction, and depending on the book, it could be intro chapter 1, it could be intro chapter 5, doesn't matter. But it is showing that you can write. And it's really funny because it's referred to as the writing sample, but the whole thing is writing sample.
I mean, you've already written 12 pages minimum at this point. Come on.
Yeah, these are usually book proposal could be anywhere from 30 to 50 pages or more. This is not a light document, but here's the thing. Once you write it, you've got the roadmap for your book. People think, oh, it's a long slog. I don't want to wait. I want to get out in the world. I can think of a couple reasons for self or hybrid publishing, but usually it's a business reason.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for client development, or I want to do more speaking, or I want to have something to give my clients. Do a white paper, do something, do a PDF. Don't waste your time and money, but if you want to, go ahead. What I am saying is the rewards of traditional publishing will far outweigh any excuse you can give for not doing it.
No kidding. What a great high note to wrap up on. Now, here's the thing. You got 3 C's, and each of those 3 C's had multiple sections, and some of them were also starting with C. And if you're out there and you're getting nervous or confused, guess what? It's totally okay, because you now have a book proposal expert. She's sitting right there, Deb, the book proposal expert. And Deb hosts workshops every single month to help you cross the starting line of your book strong. And that could be started again if you're already in process too. So Deb, tell us about the workshop, tell us about how to find out more, and tell us how to connect with you.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much. And yes, there are a lot of letters. A lot of things start with C, but some of the best things start with C. I mean, cookies, cake, candy, cash, also concept, context, and content. And that's why it's work. But if you've got a book that you love, that you really want to write, this sets it up for success. And as a goal person, I am all about setting you up for success. Maybe that's why I love book proposals so much, because you're putting in the work. You're figuring out what you need to do to bring this book that you love into the world, and you're doing it in the right way. So if you want to learn more about me, you can go to thebookproposalexpert.com. So I do my strategic starting point workshops once a month, and a little bit of it is publishing 101, but what you will leave with is an idea of what you need to do to write these different sections. But even more importantly, you come away with what your title is in what your differentiator is, because that is what creating this wonderful book is all about, creating a saleable book. You need something that stands out, that makes you stand out, that you love. So anyway, I do this workshop once a month, and then from that, you can apply to be part of my cohort or do one-on-one. I've done with you, I've done for you, I've got guided, and I do book proposal extreme makeovers, as I call them. And also, if you go to bookproposalexpert.com on resources, you can see articles that I've written for Writer's Digest and interviews, and just basically me bubbling over with excitement about book proposals, because this is the thing. If you have this book, if you really want to write it, if it's been like tapping at your shoulder forever, what is stopping you? Other than you, nothing. You can invest a little bit of time and energy over a period of time. And then, as I said before, one day you're going to wake up and you'll be like, I got it. I'm ready to go. This is what I want to leave you with. You want to write a book? Great. Own it. The first thing you need to decide once you're like, I'm going to be this person, you need to own your expertise. You get to be the person that shares this information. And the world needs your book. So why wouldn't you want to get it out in a way that the people who need to read it will actually find it?
Yes, ma'am. On that beautiful note, Deb, thank you so much for being here today. It is always just so refreshing and brilliant and enlightening. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my goodness.
It's so much fun to hang out.
And you out there all across the internet, you have been watching or listening to Meet Your Metrics. I am Anniepreneur. That's Deb Eckerling. And this whole episode has been brought to